God gave me this platform. I already know I'm going to win.
China did our vote. Biden and Harris would say, hey, we're here to protect the country, and resign.
Mike Lindell's a conspiracy.
But you haven't.
Just forget about the evidence. This was attacked.
MyPillow CEO Mike Lindell has yet again another amazing announcement, I suppose, about the evidence, non-existent voter fraud related to Dominion voting machines. So once again, here we go. This is Mike Lindell on Steve Bannon's War Room.
Your buddy, is your bestie Sean Hannity finally going to have you back on the show so you can talk about your machines, Mike?
Well, I'm going to text him
that?
right now. I usually text him and say, hey, Sean, is this news? So I will be texting Sean this morning and say, Sean, is this news? Is this news? The biggest breaking news, bombshell proof. We finally have what's inside the machine. You know, Steve, there was one other time in the United States, and that was Antrim County, Michigan, almost over a year ago now, where they actually had the same thing. Here's inside the machines. They seen all the manipulation, what it done, but what did they do? They covered it up, they deleted stuff, and they discredited, tried to, because they had all the media. This is why it's so important that Fox and Newsmax and Salem Media, just the conservative media, they need to get the word out. That is we are on offense, Steve. I've been on offense, you know that. I don't go on defense. This is what I've had all along. We have got to get the word out on this. It's over, everybody. If we can get the word out to the whole world, it's over. Okay. If they don't put it up there, they are in on it. It can be no other way, because this is the smoking gun bombshell evidence we've been waiting for.
Okay, but Mike, hang on.
If they don't put it up, listen, Steve. If they don't put it up, I'm going to answer your question. If they don't put it up, it doesn't mean that the evidence isn't real. It means that they're in on it. I don't know. Because it certainly does not mean that the evidence isn't real. We are in another time in history where good is evil, evil is good, everything's upside down. You can't explain why judges never looked at the evidence for a whole year.
Wow. Well, it's over. Oh, it's over. Really? I didn't know that it was over. Really, Mike? Really? Okay, so before I get into the substance here, I just want to say how funny it is to think that MyPillow is like texting Sean Hannity like at 6 a.m., like sitting on the toilet or something like that. Like, hey, Sean, this time it's real. I have the evidence this time. You got to put me on Fox News. You're a traitor. You're a traitor if you don't put me on. Oh my God. I mean, look, the guy is ridiculous. He's ridiculous. All right. So now, evidence, right? So this time, I got the bombshell. I got the bombshell this time. So now, look, Lindell is referencing a forensic report that had come out about one voting machine in Mesa County, Colorado. Now, the report was written by, surprise, by an ally of Lindell named Doug Gould. So he claims that the election system used for the 2020 election, which has since been decommissioned and replaced, had 36 wireless components that could be exploited to obtain unauthorized access from external devices. Now, he also found that there was an inclusion of some uncertified Microsoft SQL technology, software in the system, which Gould claims would make the system vulnerable to attack. Now, vulnerable, right? That is the question, right? In doing his forensic examination, Gould used some before and after images. So now, images of the hard drive, specifically. Well, now where did he get those images? He got them from stolen hard drives, stolen by Tina Peters. In fact, let me give you the information on that. These images were made from data that was taken from hard drives on the machines by Tina Peters, former Boebert campaign manager Sharona Bishop, and 2 other women who have now since been indicted for making copies illegally and then handing them off to people like Mike Lindell, who showed them off during his 2021 Cyber Symposium. You know, the thing that was supposed to prove election fraud but didn't prove election fraud. His so-called report claimed to make the conclusive determination that ballots cast on voting machines should not be counted because they are not secure. Gould's report theorized that the machines could have been accessed by bad actors, but did not provide evidence that they were, which is very, very important. If you're going to say, look, hey, so there's a difference between saying, look, there's some vulnerabilities or possible vulnerabilities in the system that maybe you should patch. That's good. That's totally fine. I've made that argument before in the show. I mean, that makes sense, patching vulnerabilities, right? That's different than saying those vulnerabilities that we just found were definitely used by hackers because we just found them. But no, there's no evidence of that intrusion. So, I mean, again, you had no evidence that they were accessed by bad actors or that the results of the election administered through the system were changed in any way. Now, the second report written by Gould, I'm sorry, this is the second report. The first one actually claimed that thousands of files, again, without evidence, were deleted from the system. So, again, no evidence here, right? Now, the funny thing about this is that, once again, I actually do agree with the premise that, hey, we do have vulnerabilities, possible vulnerabilities that could be potentially exploited like any machine, right? I mean, look, the thing that I've talked about is people could hack your smart fridge. Why would they want to do so? I don't know. They could hack your smart fridge. They could hack your smart car. They could, people could definitely hack voting machines if they were connected to the internet and wanted to. Now, that said, I've seen some people do some pretty crazy things with machines. I've seen people run Doom on a toaster. So yes, a smart toaster that can run Doom. But basically, Doom will run on just about anything. Like, I've seen it run on an old Nokia phone. So, I mean, but anyway, just because they can doesn't mean they did. You have to have evidence, right? And is there any evidence of anyone tampering with these machines? Well, the only evidence we have is Tina Peters, who, again, stole election data and tampered with the system in order to get that data. So there you go. And now, of course, Peters is an ally of MyPillow trying to prove election fraud, which, again, they didn't. The data that they stole didn't even back up the assertions made by Mike Lindell or Donald Trump and all these big lie proponents. And so, look, I've talked about this years before the election, how we should go back to hand-counted paper ballots. I agree that they should be counted in plain view for maximum accountability. There would never be any other question, right? But Republicans understand the hypocrisy of this, right? Republicans never had a problem with voting machines or any vulnerabilities that people have brought up. Voting rights groups have brought up the possibility of these machines being either defective or possibly accessed by bad actors way before Donald Trump, way before Republicans started picking this up and doing weirdo conspiracy theories about it. No, the only time that Republicans actually brought this up was when they lost the election. That's it. That's a fact. Until Trump, no Republican ever really talked about voting machines being exploited, but now it's all they talk about. It's all they talk about. They can't help themselves. It's just like they just developed this possibility that this could happen, and then doing what they do, constructed an entire elaborate alternative reality around this. saying that, oh, well, because it could happen, turning the it could happen into it definitely happened. It had to have happened. The Iranians, the Italians, the Pomeranians, the ghost of Hugo Chavez. I don't know, probably Stalin and George Soros. They all got together and stole the election from Donald Trump. No, they didn't. It's insanity. Stop with the insanity. Just because you can do something doesn't mean it happened. No, what you have here is a bunch of conspiracy theorists and grifters. That's who MyPillow, and that's who all these conspiracy nutters really are.